The baby, he licks his lips, his dry lips. He says, maybe you have a problem with me. What is the problem with this baby? What is the problem with my 6-month-old son? But then, what did they give him? They gave an arrow to his neck. This is what happened. This is the difference between the sacrifice. So no, why did Imam Hussein, what did he want to do by achieving, what did he want to achieve by doing this sacrifice? He wants to establish that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wants to teach humanity true ubudiyyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, brothers and sisters, the message is what do our hearts need to yearn for every time we do an ibadah, every time we do an amal? We should yearn for the happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how do we do that? We can connect ourselves with Hussein. This ibadah, the beautiful thing about the azab Hussein, is that it has this ikhlas, it has this khulus. Do not lose this ikhlas. Whenever we do this adab, whenever we're making food, it has to have khulus in it. That's the beauty of this adab, this ibadah. Please say salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So now the message that we get from Karbala, there's some messages that I wanted to share. And these things, they stand to this day. For example, Karbala is to never bow down to oppressors. Karbala means to take a stand against the oppressors. And for Karbala, it doesn't matter if your numbers are small. In Karbala, who had the bigger army? Did Imam Hussein have the bigger army, or did Yazid have the bigger army? Yazid had the bigger army. Some riwayah say 40,000, maybe more. But numbers didn't matter. So do numbers matter now? No. For a person who follows the principles of Karbala, numbers don't matter. It doesn't matter whether the adu or the enemies are more than us. And never be afraid. The final thing I want to say, we should not be afraid of the oppressor. The example of Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. Hur, he freed himself from the dunya. Hur, he freed himself from the chains of this dunya. And that freedom that Hur chose, we can still choose that freedom today. Hur had this option. He could choose between the dunya and akhirah. He had this option right then and there. He was between choosing Jannah and then between choosing Nar. And he saw that right away. And there's different characters and personalities, but Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, he chose the right. He chose Jannah. And then as soon as he chose this, Imam Hussein, he was not afraid of any oppressor. Nobody could make him afraid. And it was like when people saw him fight, it's as if the person wants to die. He wants to be shaheed for Allah Hussein. Can you say salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad? So I want to share a couple of things. There's another scholar, Idris al-Husseini. He was inspired by Hussein so much. He's actually a Sunni scholar. And he wrote in his book, لَقَدْ شَيَّعْنِي الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. Surely because of Hussein, I've become his Shia. He has inspired me to become a Shia. That is what Hussein does. And the living example today, there's many examples, but I want to share one example that sometimes we don't hear of. I don't know if you have heard of Sheikh Ibrahim al-Zakzaki. Sheikh Ibrahim al-Zakzaki, he is a sheikh in Nigeria. He's an alim, he is a Shia. And what he's done is he brought this concept of Hussein and he has freed the people from servitude. He has freed the people from the fetters from government and corporations. And it's said that there are millions of people that have followed this message of Hussein because of him. So what has he done? He's taken this message of Hussein and he's spread it. And they are all free from the system that is created. So the values of Karbala, the last point inshallah I want to make. The values of Karbala are still alive today. In the ayah of in Surah Al-Rahman it says, كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ. Everything in this earth, it will perish. It's fani, it's done. But it doesn't end there. The ayah says, وَيَبْقَى وَجْهَ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. What will remain is the face of your Lord, the owner of majesty and honor. So now, I have a question for all of us, like a rhetorical question. So, do we ever come here thinking that, this year, we will cry for Imam al-Hussein a little bit less? Do we ever come here and think we will do our azah a little bit less than last year? Do we ever think that? Do we ever think, okay, this year is going to be less? No. We never think that. In fact, somebody could argue it happened years ago and every year is getting further and further and further. But do we ever think we wanted to do it less? No. We want to do more and more. Every year the numbers increase. Every year our pain increases. Every year we love Imam Hussein, inshallah, more and more. And because Rasulullah says, إِنَّ لَقَتْلَ الْحُسَيْنِ حَرَارَةً فِي قُلُوبِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ لَا تَبْرُدُوا أَبَدًا. It's because the killing of Hussein, the qatl of Hussein, it ignites a passion that never coldens, that never goes down. It always increases. So, and many of the, across history, there were people that went to Karbala. They would say, if you want to go to Karbala, you have to chop your hand off. They still went to Karbala. In the time of Mutawakkil, they told them, if you want to go to Karbala, you have to sacrifice, cut the throat of one of your kids. Did they stop? No. The mothers would go, they would offer their kids, here, this is one of my kids. They cut the throat, and then they went to Abu Abdul Hussein. They made sacrifices. Nothing could stop. Nothing could stop this love of Hussein. So, كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذي الجلال والإكرام. Everything will end except that which has the generosity, that which has the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this example, like final example, inshallah, in the interest of time, I want to give this khulus, like that we see in Ahl al-Bayt. This wajhullah is seen in Abu Abdul Hussein. It is seen in the Ahl al-Bayt. When we say in the Ahl al-Bayt, إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. When they fed the yatim, when they fed the poor, when they fed the miskeen, what did they do it for? They did it for wajhullah. They did it for only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the generosity of Ahl al-Bayt. وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينٌ وَيَتِيمٌ وَأَسِيرٌ. That is the love of Ahl al-Bayt. So brothers and sisters, inshallah, we want to get connected to this wajhullah, that is Hussein. And this wajhullah is through Imam al-Hussein. And this azab, brothers and sisters, I feel, the way I see it, there's many resources in this world. Like you can look at oil, that may be the top resource. People say that it's the top resource, but there's a resource that is greater than that. And that is the azab of Abu Abdul Hussein. There was a German sociologist, he's a researcher. He said, if we Germans had Ashura and Arba'in, we would conquer the world. So he says we would use this Ashura and Arba'in. So Arba'in and Ashura and Azab Hussein is that it's not just a weapon, but it's it's the best resource that the lovers of Ahl al-Bayt have. And inshallah we will connect through Abu Abdul Hussein through these months of Azab. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Ya laytana كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. Altogether غريب حسين وحيد حسين شهيد حسين عطشان حسين. When Imam al-Hussein was leaving Mecca, Muhammad ibn Hanafiya, he came to see Abu Abdullah. Oh my brother, I heard you are going towards Kufa. He begged him, do not leave, they will kill you. You know what they did to our father, Amir al-Mu'mineen. Oh Imam, you know how the people of Kufa are. So Imam al-Hussein, he was leaving Mecca and he was going, Muhammad bin Hanafiya, he stops him. And then Imam al-Hussein says, okay, I will think about it. The next morning comes and Imam al-Hussein, he got the caravan ready. He was on his way and he boarded the caravan, he was starting to go. Then Muhammad bin Hanafiya, he comes and he heard, when he sees that Imam al-Hussein is leaving, he comes, he rushes out and he grabbed the reins. He tried to stop Imam al-Hussein. He says, "Oh Hussein, I thought you said you would think on it. You would think on not leaving." Imam al-Hussein, he says, "Oh my brother, I have heard from Rasulullah, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ شَاءَ أَن يَرَاكَ قَتِيلًا." He said, this is the wish of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I will be killed. Immediately Muhammad bin Hanafiya, he says, "Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un." Then he says, "Ya ibn Rasulullah, why are you taking the women of Ahl al-Bayt with you? Why are you taking Zainab and Ruqayya? فإن الله قد شاء أن يرهن السوايا." Hussein knows that without the sacrifice of Zainab and Kulthum, the religion will not be saved. And then the caravan, it goes towards Kufa. Then it goes, and in short, it lands on a place, and it reaches a place where the horse does not move. Imam Hussein, he calls out to the people, he says, "What is the name of this earth? What is the name of this place?" They came forward and said, "Al-Ard al-Ghadiriyah." He says, "Hal ismu ghayri hada?" Is there another name for this place? Someone said, "Qalu tusamma Nainawa." And then he said a third time, "Hal ismu ghayri hada?" And then they kept on going until one person, he says, "Tusamma Karbin wa Bana." Imam al-Hussein, he says, "Hahuna, this is the place. This is the place for the landing of the caravan. This is the place where we will return to Allah. This is the place where our blood will be shed." على لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. Please raise our hands in dua. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم ادخل على أهل القبور السرور. اللهم اغني كل فقير. اللهم اشبع كل جائع. اللهم اكسو كل عريان. اللهم اقض دين كل مدين. اللهم فرج عرب. اللهم رد كل غريب. اللهم فقير. اللهم اصلح كل فاسد من امور المسلمين. اللهم اشفي كل مريض. اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك. اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك. اللهم اقضي عنا الدين واغننا من الفقر إنك على كل شيء قدير. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على